All right, we'll start with an opening statement.
I had a scrappy bunch, played hard. They had a West Virginia State Player of the Year out there from Fairmont. Hit some threes he wasn't supposed to, but good for him. Thought they played hard. They're going to compete in their conference. I think at first we haven't learned to find our roles offensively. What people do, I think all of them are trying to be the space and spot up guy, and that's not who we are. I thought second half started doing a few more pick and rolls. Gorn showed some flashes of being a big and doing some things that the biggest guy on the floor can do. Andy obviously was good. Tavion's shot wasn't where it's going to be, but he hasn't gotten a rhythm offensively, but I'm not too worried about that. That's going to happen. So we move forward, and it's going to be a great game Friday against Wright State. They're a very good ball club, expected to compete at the highest level, the horizon. And we'll need all hands on deck playing well. Wyatt walked into the locker room, not sure where he is physically. We'll find out probably tomorrow. But he shows flashes. You can see just before he got hurt, the three he made. So, you know what? We got a good ball club. Again, we'll have to define our roles a little better offensively. Defensively, thought we did well. Second half, we started rebounding, and we started realizing we're not out there watching. Everybody's spacing and watching. We started going in to rebound, and I think that'll all get better as we go through the season.
Coach, 18 points from Andy tonight. I know the three-pointer wasn't always falling for him, but you look at the rest of the stats for him: 7 rebounds, 11 assists. He was scrappy tonight. Just found ways to kind of fill it up and get it done for you guys. What did you see out of him on the court?
That was a bad game for Andy. You'll see him a lot better, and that's how good he is. So that's by most people be going, oh yeah, I probably have gone home going, man, I played really good. But for him, probably not as good a game as he expects himself, and he's that good. He's that good. So I'm looking forward to watching him throughout the season.
You mentioned the rebounding. I know there was a couple times down the court, Obina grabbed offensive rebound, went right back up and got the points. Is he going to have to kind of be that guy for you guys to get those tough ones down inside?
Yeah, and you know what? He was always that. He's trying to work on his offensive game, and I think he hasn't gotten the rhythm of what he needs to do. He can't leave that guy who scraps and rebounds and defends, and that's always going to be who he is. And then he can add a little bit to his game, but he's got to play that type of game. Cutter, catch things on the pick and roll, come off pick and rolls. First half, we might have had 2 or 3 or 4. Every time we did, we got an easy shot. And then second half, we started doing a little bit better. He started crashing the boards. But again, that's just learning our roles as offense. And I give a lot of freedom. And that's why sometimes our teams always mature later in the year. We get better and better because the roles are more defined, and they learn to define them themselves, not so much coach narrative, all the time. So I kind of like it that way. I think at the end of the year, you're always better if they've defined their own roles and it meshes into a real good team. Now, of course, if the definition is not correct, then it's up to me to make sure we take a relook at that and see if we can't get it where it needs to be.
Coach, you head towards Wright State on Friday. You got to make a decision about the freshman who's going to get redshirted. Like, what have you seen in the past 2 games, and that will lead towards that final decision?
Well, if I don't know how bad Wyatt is hurt, it might be something that he just wants to do and get that leg, just work on his leg all year long, getting the strength and the muscle and the joint, and letting our people work with him to do that. So that would be my first thought. But now, if he says he's good, you can see what he can do. He can be a valuable member now, playing that 3 spot or a wing. He comes in, he can really shoot the basketball. He's quick and he'll defend. He's competitive. So, we'll have to just wait and see. If we don't redshirt anybody, some people's going to have to be happy sitting there watching a little bit more than they would like. But again, pretty happy with the progress where we are. Want to give credit again to Pikeville College, their coaches. They do an outstanding job. Very competitive. That game was very good for us. And I know that first half film is going to teach our kids a lot.
Coach Darius George, probably just looking at the stats, probably your most consistent shooter tonight. Just what did you see out of him, and how do you feel about where he's at with his game?
Darius is Darius. He's 6 for 8, and all of them going to the rim, catching dunks. He made I think one jumper out of the whole thing. That's who he is. He plays hard. He's going to be probably 5-6 minutes, and then let him rest because he's high energy, and he puts a lot into the 5 or 6 minutes as far as energy goes. So he has moved out. Although with Wyatt in there, I put him at the 4. He's still one of our best pick and roll guys. It's harder to do it at the 3, so we might have to invert that a little bit. Try to get him into the pick and rolls because he really got quick feet going back to the rim, and then he has that quick jump. So again, like I said, we're a work in progress, fitting all of our roles offensively. But defensively, I think, if I'm not correct, let's see what they did. But they shot 29-27. So that's pretty good. We got length. We just got to watch our rebounding. Like I said, we can't repeat the rebounding in the first half, but we held them under 30%. And they, they handled the ball. We pressured. They handled it for a NAIA school. Handle the pressure, and you got to give them credit. And the little kid from Fairmont, the West Virginia kid, he's a pretty tough. I think he's West Virginia State Player of the Year. So he's a pretty tough cat. And, I wish him the best. But again, as soon as our roles define up, we got to work on it real hard, real quick, because team coming in here is pretty damn good. So we'll be ready though. We got length, and if we keep defending, we'll always be in ball games. All right, fellas.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Matt.